detective. Thrill me.
Thanks for joining us again. Very early Denzel Washington this time, Jared. Very hard to find this one. 1991's Ricochet.
Yep.
Now, we don't have a lot to cover, although I will mention the fact that we watched a Bigfoot film earlier on today called Abominable.
Yes.
Well, I guess a Yeti film.
Yep. Possibly
one of the worst movies we've seen.
I think. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend you seek it out.
Yeah, it was a 70-minute picture that was not well made. I think I'll leave it there.
Yeah. It didn't excite me much.
We also, because we were on a bit of a tear of Bigfoot-related products,
I blame you.
We came across a documentary called Bigfoot versus Yeti.
It's a stretch to call it that, isn't it?
Yeah, well...
What was it documenting? A severe lack of evidence?
It was just a fucking shit show from the minute it started. Look, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to poo-poo somebody who puts a little evidence on the table.
No.
Right? Now, Bigfoot and the Yeti, according to this documentary, extremely private characters. They don't like to be seen often.
Well, we heard that that Yeti. I mean, speaking basically as fact, that Yeti would tend to be pretty quick. But then we were also advised. Yeah, there was a project that set up a number of cameras that were recording all the time, and the Yeti proved to kind of
be so elusive
that they weren't able to capture anything on those cameras. So that must be the evidence of how quick they are. They're so quick that you can't catch them on the camera. But look, she fell over for me when we started mentioning that perhaps Bigfoot could travel between dimensions. I mean, I need to see something first. I need you to prove.
Well, I'll tell you what I need you to prove. That the fucking thing exists.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
Because, you're coming from a base of, we don't even know if it actually exists, and you've got very little evidence to say that it does.
Yeah.
And then you're saying interdimensional travel.
Well, it's all on, okay, most of the people talking there seem to have had personal experience that they believe they encountered something, okay? But none of them had anything other than this is what I saw, other than the bloke that had a thermal photo that was very difficult to sort of make out. But then nothing else was presented. And I don't know, that's just whether because it was a Tubi production that couldn't really pay people to be borrowing their footage.
But to me, you've got a number of issues, right? Going to Bigfoot being able to teleport was kind of like a last-ditch effort. I think they were going for either that or they were taking the piss. I'm not.
Well, I guess the project was a bit of fun in some ways, but you can't fucking talk like it's fact if you got. That was my thing. Is like we're talking like this is fact, but you're not showing anything other than animations that I swear to God were used. The same little animations were used about 25 times. So.
Oh dear.
Where's my proof?
No, yeah, I need to see
a Yeti out of the box for you to tell me they're pretty quick. Well, I'm not taking your word on that.
I need something. Like anything.
Yeah.
And they keep coming back to the footprints.
Yeah.
As being the evidence and the sounds. Which, by the way, the sounds could be made by a human.
Yeah.
Like they were not vastly different, but they couldn't have been made by a human.
No.
So there's a lot there that's problematic.
Yeah.
With that. Why we were watching it? Good question.
because I said, have a look at this. And you said, oh, hang on, we got to fucking press play on that for a little while.
We hung in because we thought they might sort of throw us a couple of bit of grainy footage or something that we might be able to kind of, we got fucking nothing in that department. So that's all we've been watching at the moment, and probably best left not to be discussed, I think.
Yep.
All right, let's take a break. Here's the trailer for 1991's Ricochet.
7 years ago, Nick Styles put him away for life.
Boston, you made me famous.
Now he's watching
I got things to live for.
and waiting
If somebody's laughing, I can hear it in my blood.
for revenge.
Now we're even, is that it? We're not even close. Come on!
Denzel Washington, John Lithgow, Ice-T. Ricochet, rated R. Starts Friday, October 4th at a theater near you.
Ricochet from 1991, directed by Australian action veteran, Russell Mulcahy, who directed Razorback. It's written by Fred Decker, who wrote The Monster Squad. A gentleman by the name of Manuel Muniz, he put the story together.
I think Decker was story as well.
Yeah, so was Decker. And this guy's actually nominated for an Oscar here. He wrote Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade. So, tidy details there. And the screenplay was by Stephen E. D'Souza, who wrote Die Hard. Stars Denzel Washington as Nick Styles, John Lithgow as Earl Talbot Blake, Ice-T as Odessa, and Kevin Pollak as Larry Doyle. The budget was, I don't know. I couldn't find any information about that. And the box office was $21 million. Now Denzel worked out for 3 hours a day, 6 days a week for 4 months, so as to not look out of shape for his shirtless scenes.
Yeah, he was looking fine there, mate.
Yeah, he was
Looking all right.
He's going on.
He's clearly the work paid off.
Yeah, clearly. All right. What are your thoughts, Jared? Ricochet.
So it was a little off the wall in places. Denzel and John Lithgow is where your bread's getting buttered on this one.
Yeah.
Like, they are both worth the price, although Lithgow has some very seedy lines.
Yeah, he does a couple of things.
But yeah, like you imagine this movie without those two, and she's nowhere near as good, I don't think. Russell Mulcahy's, as usual, style in the place of fucking explaining anything to any reasonable level. But that's okay, that works for the most part. But all in all, I think it goes too far off the rails at the end. So I ended at a 2.5.
Yeah, I think 2.5 is about the right way to go. Early on, it's actually, you feel like you're getting something. I wasn't going to say a surprise, but I was kind of like, this is a little bit better than I remember.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Denzel is fantastic. John Lithgow is fantastic. I agree with you. If those two are not in it, then you've got some real problems. But they bring a little bit of gravitas to a otherwise pretty sort of, by the numbers actioner. But then but it sort of lunges between exciting sort of action moments and fucking head scratching stuff that's way over the top.
Yeah.
I couldn't quite get my head around. There's one scene in particular that I'll talk about in the dislikes where I was just like, where did this come from?
Lithgow's scheme is almost Saw-like in its
It is intricate.
complexity and intricacies by the end of it. But
there's no doubt about that. But I will say this: it's entertaining.
it is, yeah.
And that's, it moves at a reasonable clip. So 2.5 sounds pretty good. Likes. Excellent cast.
Yeah.
Denzel, John Lithgow, Kevin Pollak, Ice-T, John Amos, Lindsay Wagner, all solid. All professional enough to give you something. Denzel and John Lithgow stand out as the main two.
Yeah.
But they give you elevated performances too.
Yeah. I mean, as we said, Lithgow is off the planet at particular points. But in terms of what he's bringing as a villain, he tosses a couple of scenes in there where it's like, yeah, this is why you get this guy.
Yeah. Just a look here and there, or a fucking creepy kind of.
Or knows when to,
about
when he's allowed to kind of simmer it down in a couple of scenes.
Yeah.
And he really ups the menace of the character.
In fact, they're the key moments.
Yeah.
These
With
are the better
nothing
moments.
more than his performance, really.
Yeah.
I don't think it's, the writing is still, he's a little bit crazy and whatnot, but just the way that Lithgow kind of is allowed to bring a couple of those moments into it, it makes a big difference.
Yes, correct. Young Denzel charming the pants off everybody.
Everyone.
Fuck. I mean, the scene at the start, in anybody else's hands, that woman's going, get the fuck away from me.
Yeah.
But Denzel charms and everybody.
Works out a date and then ends up, there's 2 or 3 of her friends in a car behind that by the end of the scene seem to be looking at Denzel kind of swooning themselves.
Yeah, they're basically like, fucking, if you're not taking the date, I am.
Yeah.
Like, and I actually did like the way he does the whole giving her a ticket.
Yeah, gives her a
she kind of
ticket
says,
to, come and talk to me at this time if you want to try to get out of the,
And he initially asked her on a date at 8 o'clock, and she says nah. And so he then pulls in the police kind of, because he's a cop.
Yeah.
He sort of pulls the whole, you need to get a ticket.
But he manages to do it in a fashion that doesn't come off as fucking weird and creepy.
Yeah, exactly.
It comes off as, I was sitting there thinking, well, all right, well, she doesn't come, I might turn up for a beer or two.
I may be there. If I've got nothing else on, I'll be there. Yeah, very charming guy, really good actor. We're not telling anyone anything that everyone doesn't already fucking know.
No, but I think sometimes you forget about, because, his peak stuff, the stuff that we kind of tend to gravitate more to is a little bit older Denzel.
Yeah.
But this is, this is a young Denzel.
This is a young bull.
With all the charms still kind of there.
Yes.
The only thing that would, he too goes off the rails in a couple of scenes. I can't take points off him for that. It just seems like Russell Mulcahy just requires you to do that at some point in your movie. And Stephen D'Souza can be blamed a little bit for that too.
Steve doesn't. By this stage, he started to fucking lose his mind too, because he then trotted out fucking Street Fighter not long after.
Yeah.
But Denzel is very charming, and he's very, very good in this role, in a sense that we also hadn't seen this from a young Denzel. Do you know what I mean? We didn't really see Denzel come into play until after Glory. Yeah. Even, I forget anything that came before that.
Yeah.
And I think he wishes to forget Heart Condition.
Possibly. I'll tell you what though, we spoke about Gary Busey setting someone's panties on fire. Gaz Busey he's lighting a match compared to Denzel's fucking. Denzel's a bushfire.
Denzel's fucking flamethrower. I'm not joking.
As I said to you, I think Busey mentioned setting your mother's panties on fire. Well, Denzel's setting yours, your mother's, and your grandmother's panties on fire. And in certain circumstances, your grandfather's too. Everyone's panties are just going. Fuck!
That guy has put a lot of fucking fires out. Unbelievable. And this is the thing. This is the charm of the guy. You pointed out, he's in the less capable hands, handing her a ticket as almost like not taking no for an answer.
Yeah.
Can be seen as very creepy.
Yeah.
So,
but it's played as like he's kind of won her over already. She kind of wants to accept it the first time, but she doesn't because she wants to. Yeah, so
doesn't want to make it so easy for him.
It's kind of like I said, it doesn't come off like that at all. It just comes off like she's pretty much accepted the date, but says, and then he goes, well, I'm just going to have to write you a ticket and you can turn up at 8 and argue your way out of it if you want to. It's just, It's
a nice way of doing it, I think. Clever. The opening shootout, pretty solid.
Yeah, pretty good.
I like the whole Denzel. When he talks him through, initially he says, don't move. You're carrying a certain type of shotgun. It's going to take you this long to pump the slide.
Yep.
To put another round in, and by that stage, I'll have shot you in the fucking head.
And this is where we start to, we're still holding on, but the fingers start to slip a little bit when Denzel starts kind of undressing.
Yeah.
Johnny Lithgow starts yelling out things like, back off, donut! we start to see the fingers just kind of slipping on the handle.
That's right, I forgot about that. I'll be back at the office eating donuts. Well, back off, donuts. That's a bit strange. We start to miss a little bit there.
Yeah.
But I like that sequence.
And also Denzel, we're starting to get into some of the story specifics. When he fires, he kind of does it behind the back.
Yeah.
Like, ooh. I was like, okay.
That's not a fucking classic sort of shooting effort,
No.
is it? But I also don't quite understand why we strip down to our fucking jocks.
Well, just showing I got nothing else on me.
Yeah, I know, but Christ.
But he didn't ask.
He didn't ask if you had anything else on him.
No.
So what are you doing?
But Denzel just knew, hey, look, I'm a chance of setting his panties on fire.
Yeah, exactly.
Having this go
What
down.
happened is Lithgow fucking loosened up because Denzel was talking and he was like, oh, shit.
Man, he's magnetic.
He's magnetic, all right. Fuck. Anything that was metal was fucking stuck to the guy. But it's nicely played scene.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's pretty tense and it's pretty well written.
Yeah.
Which I like. And look, I'm going to bring this up, and I didn't really want to, but there's a sequence after this where the fucking DA, the female DA, goes straight into the men's locker room to congratulate Denzel, who's just sitting around the nick.
Yep.
And as he gets up to cover himself via the world's biggest fucking locker door, I think you see his cock. It's fleeting, but I think that's what happens.
Yeah. I thought it was, it was there briefly.
It was briefly there.
Had the nightstick out.
And again, it's one of those fucking things that they have in these movies where she walks straight in, no questions asked.
Yeah.
I mean, there'd be half a dozen guys standing around with their fucking old fellas out. It's a men's locker room.
Yeah.
So, the times, Jared. The times. We wouldn't be getting this sort of stuff in today's film.
No.
Now, the prison escape. Lithgow escaping prison.
Yep.
As unbelievable and incredibly stupid as that entire thing is, it's kind of well done.
It's exciting.
Exciting, competently directed, nicely done.
Yeah.
I think that papers over some of the fact that it's so dopey.
Oh yeah, there's some silly things going on which we'll get into.
I mean, fuck.
But the sequence itself, when it gets going, it's just pretty brisk. It's pretty exciting in the sense that when they're coming out, you've got people getting in the way. You've got them.
Will the cops jump on? Like, will the guards jump on them? Do they know that?
We always know pretty much where it's going to go in a situation like this. But regardless, it was fun to watch.
Yes.
So,
and I think it just papers over the fact that it seems really dopey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now we talked about John Lithgow and his performance and going a little bit quieter.
Yeah.
There's a section in the centre of the film where he actually turns up at Denzel's place.
Yep.
His home while they're out and the babysitter's got the kids.
Yeah.
And he downplays the crazy.
Yeah.
And he starts to kind of...
He starts with acting normal to win the kids over and stuff. And then in the midst of that, there's a little bit of kind of... just a kind of seething rage.
And he tells a story or something in the middle of it to the kids.
Yeah.
That's not quite... It's sort of going back into where he came from and, the fact that he's upset, that he carries one of the kids upstairs while she's asleep. And you're thinking, oh, shit, we're going to have a real problem here. So it builds that momentum that he can get at Denzel anytime he wants. And so he doesn't do anything then other than make a point.
Yeah.
That I was in your home.
Yeah. And
when you weren't here.
And it leads to the little switch of that he actually didn't, he just left the kids and, as you said, left the kind of message there that, hey, I was there and that's how easy it was for me. But then he goes to do the fucking robbery, which starts to put his fucking plan in place. Again, talk about harebrained schemes. Oh. But that's the best he does in the movie, I think.
Yeah.
That is the best. That's the scariest he is in the movie. And yeah, it's very creepy the way that he kind of interacts through that scene.
Yeah, but coming to his harebrained scheme, and as elaborate and sort of highly unlikely it would be to actually get this to happen. But I kind of like that he kind of sets him up.
Yeah.
To take a fall.
Yep.
I think that's it's not your classic angle.
No.
In an action film.
I mean, it's been done, but
it has, but it's because this is kind of action thriller.
It kind of separates it a little bit from your standard kind of revenge.
Yes, he wants to get revenge, but he wants to do it in a way that is different from the norm, which would be to kill him.
Yeah.
Okay. So he wants to take his basically his whole life away from him by setting him up. That comes at a price, because unfortunately a fair bit of it, I mean, you can't get away with it.
No. And
there'd be enough
you're supposed to buy, I'll hold on that, but yeah, there's too much there. There's too much going on for that.
And the other good part about that is that setting him up to take the fall turns everyone against him. Like everyone, from his wife to his colleagues to the DA to everyone turns against him.
Yeah.
And he becomes kind of paranoid.
His wife, all right.
Yeah, well, she doesn't want to. Jesus Christ. Well, fuck, mate. If my husband was spouting the shit that he was spouting at one point, I'd be like, well, fucking see you later.
Yeah.
We're getting divorced.
Yep. I also enjoyed Denzel's performance of fucking one hit of drugs.
Yeah.
Where he goes from the cleanest cut bloke you've ever met in your life to kind of leaning over that bed going, oh, man. It was pretty good.
Yeah. He goes a bit overboard with regards to being drugged up.
Yeah.
I actually like the sequence where he realises that Lithgow's been in his house via the tape.
Yep.
And then he charges down to the park in his fucking crackers, gun in hand, attacks the clown guy.
Yeah.
And that's where we really start to see, well, he's clearly now losing the plot.
Yeah, and this is where Denzel goes full Mulcahy. He kind of starts, ranting and raving.
Russell's going, Denzel, bigger, mate, bigger.
Every time he's on the screen, someone says one word or one or two words to Denzel, and he just fucking goes on it. He's just going 100 miles an hour. It's like you're supposed to be trying to tell these people, you got to believe me, I wasn't drugged, but you look like you are Rick James at the moment. Like, you kind of just firing off 1,000,000 miles an hour.
You're like, listen to me, I'm innocent. Then fucking rambling like a fucking moron. The reason why I like that is I just kind of feel like it starts the breakdown of him.
Yeah.
And
it does it in a public. It does it in the public sphere.
Yeah. So it's, instead of trying to sort of show that Denzel is, he's a stand-up guy and he doesn't cave to the pressure of this. It's kind of, he does. He just caves to the pressure and starts going insane, basically.
And I mean, they've set up that this is the man of the millennium, or the man of the 90s at this stage.
The 90s, yeah.
He goes from beat cop who happens to be studying and getting A's. He's already told us that he fucking wrote an essay on this and got an A for it or whatever.
That's one of his fucking, pickup lines, basically.
Yeah. So he goes from beat cop to detective, and then immediately upon graduating, gets into the fucking DA's office. The assistant DA, doesn't he?
Well, yeah. No, I think there's a time lapse.
There's a time lapse, but it's like 4 or 5 years. That's still a fair old career progression in 4 or 5 years. I mean, you'd be struggling to graduate in that time if you're working as a cop and then you get bumped up to detective, right? At what time are you attending lectures?
Oh, you're doing them online in 1991.
Exactly.
I don't know. You've got no time to do anything.
And again, I don't know a lot about the legal system, but my understanding is it takes a fair old time to be starting to be considered for a DA's position, especially in Los Angeles.
Yeah, big town.
You'd be working.
A lot.
I understand they explain it away with, oh, this guy's the best press you've had in years. But then you're not in the police department anymore. The DA's office needs good press too, do they?
Well, this is the problem with some of that, is that that's far too much for anyone to get done, right?
Yeah.
Even if you're adding the 5-year stretch, okay?
Couldn't you have just made him a very high-profile police?
Yeah, like he becomes a police captain or something.
Would have just continued the career track that he was on.
But see, is the
this man is the Bo Jackson of the fucking legal system.
I know.
He's playing baseball and football at a very high level. Like,
yeah, he's definitely Bo Jackson.
the justice system, I should say.
Oh yeah, he's smashing it. I guess I'm not quite sure why he had to become the DA or the assistant DA. Like, why not become the captain of the fucking police force or whatever?
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what he's doing. Earl Talbot Blake's vendetta against him has no bearing on him being the assistant DA. Is that right?
Not really. He gets canned. Or, he never really gets... He does get canned, but he's still fucking going into the office.
Oh, he's still paid. Like, he stood down with
you're too good looking to fucking brush completely off the books.
Like, we would fire you.
We might always, there's always a time where we might need some good press.
Yeah, we might need a bit of good press, and quite frankly, we're going to bury you at the back. But we're keeping you on the books.
Yeah, I don't really... I think the movie could have worked without him being a DA. Really, it only plays in when he has that sequence where he kind of wins the jury over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
couldn't he have done that from the stand?
The telethon or whatever he's running.
Telethon, yeah, but at that point, they're tracking him... I guess that's where it is, right? They're tracking him on the politician path, so it's easier to go to the DA.
Yeah. And also that whole thing about the park.
Yeah.
The kids' park.
Yep.
So I guess it is kind of necessary to some extent. I'm just not quite sure how much.
Well, it's one of the easiest things to believe in the movie. That he could go from rookie, like beat cop to detective to lawyer to assistant DA in the space of about 4 years.
Yeah, okay. I'll let him have that. He's fucking Denzel Washington, I guess. He talked a few people.
Denzel turns up at the interview and he kind of just starts with that shit that he's talking when he's trying to win dates.
He just gives a bit of this.
And it's, when can you start?
Mate. You're definitely in.
Yep.
The giant explosion of the building. Mulcahy of the 90s. That's what you want. Big, loud, over fucking edited. Like, there is so many different camera angles and they I mean, the explosion occurs 3 times.
Yeah, but she's pretty fucking spectacular.
Yeah, it's pretty spectacular. I've got a dislike to what Denzel is doing up on the roof and how he gets down.
Yeah, there's a lot to come.
There's a bit to come there, but...
Yep. I think we actually passed over... I actually really like the scene where he walks into Odessa's joint.
Yeah,
he's talking, in amongst... He's on enemy territory and he's in amongst fucking... dozens of people, and he's talking like he's running the joint, and you fucking believe that he's the kind of guy that could get away with that shit.
Yeah.
You get a little bit of
hand grenade and everything.
Yeah, you get a hint of fucking Training Day bad guy Denzel there.
Yes,
like just fucking talking it and just, I'm king shit.
And
I'll do this. Will you? Like, and anyone he looks at just is like, no, I won't. I'm fucking folding. I'm putting my hand in now. you win.
Yeah, I did dig that too. Yeah, because it kind of showcases that he can be difficult. I guess, and a tougher nut to crack.
Aside from the fact that at this point he's, I believe at that point he's in the assistant DA's position, so he shouldn't be walking around with fucking hand grenades. But
oh well, I believe the assistant DA is allowed to carry one hand grenade.
Yeah, I guess this is a man who fucking stashes flares under his kitchen sink, so who knows what else he's got.
What is that about? Who the fuck? You've got young kids.
I know.
You do realise you just strike the top of them and they come alive.
Yeah.
It's not like it's like a child-proof cap on them.
It's a box that appears to be holding, 10 to 20 of the things.
I mean, shit.
The kids have gotten into them.
I've got a question. What do you need them for? The day-to-day. What kind of household? What are they for?
Just in case you call the cops to your suburban residence and they can't find you by street address, you need to fucking set off a flare and make sure they go to the right place. I don't know.
I mean, Jesus, Denzel. That's way too many flares.
Yeah.
The finale on the towers is actually pretty decent. As silly as some of that shit gets while we get up there.
Yeah, it gets very silly. But if you're watching it on mute, it looks great.
Mulcahy shoots beautifully.
Yeah.
He's moving around. He's loving it.
Yeah.
Denzel gets his arm shoved onto a spike, which I thought was really cool. Then he removes it himself. And then, the whole Lithgow gets electrocuted and falls and lands on the spikes as well.
And that's where you get the positive of what Mulcahy does, is you kind of... Most of those kind of sequences in the film, you get something out of. You get a bit of a buzz, a bit of a jolt. And
there's that kind of entertainment value is coming in, right?
I would say, during those sequences, it was almost like I was experiencing the quickening, sitting on the couch there at it. I'd imagine it's a similar feeling.
Yeah, a similar feeling where I sit there and go, what the fuck's going on here? So, very entertaining, but super over the top.
I've kind of gone numb. I don't really know what's going on. But there's a strange tingling sensation in my body, and I'm just fucking... I don't know how to take it.
Yeah,
I assume that's what the quickening feels like.
Very much so. Very much so. That's all I had in the likes. Did you have anything further?
No.
All right.
I have covered everything that I wanted to cover there.
Okay, the dislikes. Lithgow has a couple of shithouse lines. And I know they're trying to make him kind of a bad guy.
Mm.
But even by those standards, it's too much.
I mean, a couple of the lines are there to sort of... They're clearly there to kind of separate him. Like, make him a little bit of a different villain.
Yes.
But some of them come off as, Jesus, why didn't you turn up and say, I'm not going to say that? It's just, especially when they're talking...
The first comment's about the girl that he's going to shoot.
Yes.
The hostage that he has at the start. And he says
really
something about...
fucking...
Don't make me shoot her in the head, or her boyfriend will need a paper bag to put over it when he's fucking her.
Yeah. It's like... No.
Nah.
This is we don't need
We're
to
at
go...
this level. We don't necessarily need to go that too far.
Yeah.
We know what we need is shut up, donuts.
Yeah, exactly.
We need more of that.
I mean, Lithgow's the fucking... What did Dave Chappelle call it? He's the fucking habitual... There's a line.
He's habitual line stepper. Because he rolls something else out a bit later. Flossing his teeth.
Good to see you cleaning your teeth or whatever. And
I flossed as well with your mum's pubic hair.
I mean, that one was there was a little comedic aspect to it, but again...
It's not really a sick burn.
Not really what we need to hear in this context.
Yeah, so I
don't know who to blame for that. Is it D'Souza?
Oh, I definitely blame D'Souza.
Yeah.
I feel like, because this has got that macho kind of shit written all over it.
Yeah.
Which is what his bread and butter was, the Joel Silver production, this is what they were doing back then.
Yeah.
Denzel dunking.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe Denzel can play ball.
I believe Denzel could shoot some hoops. I think he's looks... And the thing is, he looks capable enough as it is. It seemed like the only reason we had a body double was so we could show someone that was dunking on people. I don't believe it anyway.
Yeah. And why does it have to be? He can still, school these guys.
Yeah. I don't know when we got to the point that it, and I think it comes from the people shooting it. I mean, I don't... Russell Mulcahy doesn't strike me as a basketball fan, but it seems to come from the understanding of the angle of someone who doesn't know much about the sport. So why don't you ask someone? Why don't you say, how can we make Denzel look really good at basketball?
Better idea.
I look at him and I say, well, he looks kind of like, point guard size. I mean, the average person can't dunk. The average heighted person that plays ball can't dunk. And so...
he could have just played below the ring. He's beating... It's because it's all about beating Odessa to the basket.
Yeah. Just show him knocking down jumpers all day.
Yeah.
It kind of looks silly because it's one of those ones where
clearly it's not him too.
It's clearly not Denzel.
Because he's dunking at one point, and we actually freeze framed it. The bloke is sort of bigger in stature.
Yeah. He's more ripped.
Yeah.
Even though Denzel was working hard. This bloke's got him
Denzel was ripped, but this guy had him covered, and you can just kind of tell he's a bigger body type. Yeah, I thought that sort of took you out of it too. Because I thought Mulcahy had actually done a pretty good job.
Yeah, just just tell Denzel to play some ball.
Yeah, and then we'll just get coverage.
Shoot it for half an hour. I'm sure Denzel's going to score a few buckets in that time. I don't understand that mentality. I mean, it's not fucking Teen Wolf, but it doesn't really work all that well.
No, it's not Teen Wolf.
I believe, was it LeBron that was watching Teen Wolf not long ago and started tweeting about who the fuck shot these basketball scenes in Teen Wolf.
Now, Denzel and Kevin Pollak are at the county fair.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
In uniform.
Yep.
They walk over to a stall and proceed to take a beverage and leave.
Yeah. All the while kind of giving the nod to the lady behind the counter.
You have to pay.
I was waiting. You got to pay for that.
Minimum, you get a discount.
Yeah.
Maximum is you get a discount.
Didn't look like a free drink stand to me. It looked like a carnival where you're paying for everything.
No, you're paying. Exactly. You are paying. Plus, you're a fucking cop.
Yeah.
You don't want to be seen to be getting gratuities.
Exactly.
Come on, Denzel.
Stop fucking pinching Pepsis. Just fucking pay for the thing.
Get yourself together, mate.
Yeah. Although it was a female behind the stand, so he probably just
clearly she was just like, take whatever you want. Take the till.
Yeah. I had around the same sort of time.
Yes.
Because this was leading up to the shootout. It's where we first start getting shots of Johnny Lithgow's haircut.
He looks like Christopher Walken when Walken plays Max Schreck or whatever in fucking Batman Returns.
Yeah.
Or in View to a Kill.
Yeah, the Max Schreck was kind of like a little kind of long grey hair, but this is kind of the short haired.
Yes. Well, again, I think he looks a bit more like Walken in View to a Kill.
Yeah, almost buzz cut. There's a colour in it.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's not a good look.
No. And I think Lithgow is the type of guy that can convey loose unit on his face reasonably well. I don't think we need his hair.
I actually think it would have been good to go with a bald John Lithgow.
Yep.
To make him look a bit different.
Yeah.
And to kind of give that additional menacing touch because it's, you've got the menace on his face, but then he's got no hair.
Yeah.
So what they decide to do is go the total opposite. And they look like a fucking refugee from the fucking 80s music video.
Yeah, there's a little bit of sting to it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Look, this is where we also get our first taste of Lithgow's sidekick.
Oh, yeah.
And he's one of the worst things about the movie.
But he's superfluous to requirements.
Totally useless. Just there for the entire movie, rambling with just inane shit. And again, it seems like it's an attempt to make this guy memorable. And that he's different. He's a bit of a dill. He's kind of There's a hero worship going on with Lithgow. Oh, you're a genius.
But the only time that his presence is required is great, is worthwhile, is when Lithgow in the strip club or the fetish club.
After what?
Finally, after taking all sorts of bullshit from this fucking idiot dribbling in his ear, he just turns to him and goes, "Well, you shut the fuck up." And I felt like, thank you.
I was thinking, I've been thinking that since we met the guy.
But he seems to be just an excess character. Maybe it's try and showcase, well, this is how we set up all this stuff for Styles.
Yeah, but when did we need to go to that level of believable? Because nothing else in the movie is remotely believable. So if you're thinking, hey, hang on, I've read the script and I don't think he could do this on his own. This is a two-man job.
And we clearly know that's not the case with Jigsaw.
Exactly. So I didn't think he needed to be there either.
And speaking of things that weren't remotely believable, Jared, coming in on fucking John Lithgow and Jesse Ventura dressed up in phone books that have been gaffer taped to them, so they look like, I don't know, something out of Mad Max.
Oh,
and then they have a fight.
There's definitely American Gladiators about it too.
They have a fucking jousting fight with. Where'd they get the steel from?
I don't know.
I mean...
There's knives on the end of them too. They appear to be well attached. Yes, it's very odd.
I mean, that's one big cake to have something like that crammed in the middle of it.
Yeah. Again, kind of entertaining, but it's fucking silly as a wheel. It's ridiculous.
The question I've got is, I reckon is this the same prison that Tango and Cash were in?
Oh, absolutely.
Because remember when Tango and Cash get taken downstairs to the laundry room and they're taking on 55 guys in there?
Yeah. Similar setup. The prisoners were running the show.
Yeah,
but as I said, it's entertaining, but it doesn't make for a good film.
No. And it doesn't make a lot of sense in the context of everything other than the fact that he kills Jesse Ventura.
Yeah.
He kind of gets street cred or whatever, I guess.
But then they say to him, you know there's fucking 50 more of us.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I guess it's how
he then charms that guy, and it's like, well, couldn't you have just done that with Jesse Ventura? He would have been a pretty handy bloke to have on your side.
Or it's just that initial meeting in the cell.
Yeah.
Where he calls him a cream cake and then beats his head in.
Yeah.
That you've already established your dominance here.
Yeah. I mean, you could have just had a punch up with Jesse Ventura. Would have been far less ridiculous. Just a punch up in the commissary. Yeah. Ventura is on the wrong end of it.
Yeah, Ventura comes along and knocks his fucking food out of his hand.
But then Lithgow just kind of, Lithgow uses that to kind of say, do what he does at the end and get him on side.
Yeah.
We didn't need to be playing fucking American Gladiators to get to
that
point.
No, we didn't.
It looked like, I'll tell you what it looked like. It looked like the pilot of American Gladiators. I swear there was some horseshit.
Yeah, there was a pile of horseshit somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So that, again, takes you a little bit out of it.
It does.
I guess because it's kind of so silly.
Yeah. Yep. Correct.
Look, and their escape, Lithgow's escape, why are we giving fucking power tools
to the prisoners? With what seems to be 2 guards on duty. There's a number of prisoners. One of them has a fucking buzzsaw.
One guy has a drill.
A long drill too.
So, not only are we giving prisoners power tools, these guys are in the Aryan Brotherhood.
Yeah. I mean, look, I would think, there's an aspect of preparing people for life back in society and trying to rehabilitate.
Oh, totally understand.
But there's a limit to that.
Yeah.
If you're in a prison, which seems to be a prison for, based on Lithgow's crimes,
fucking
violent criminals.
Yes, Jared. And as I said with the Aryan Brotherhood, surely they're off the list.
You're
getting privileges.
Yeah, when we come into the office and say, all right, who can we consider for buzzsaw duties? Let me see. Yep, off the list. Yeah, fucking no one. We consider no one for buzzsaw duties. we consider.
I mean, even if it was white collar crims, they would have sold the buzzsaw to
Whoever's
someone.
running the show comes to whoever's fucking putting this together and goes, the fucking limit is paint rollers. You go any further than that, and the program's fucking shut down. When the buzzsaw is
Give
required,
them fucking wooden instruments.
when the buzzsaw is required, the tradies do that.
The prisoners are not able to handle anything that has cutting fucking implements.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've heard of cutting corners.
Forks,
I've heard of cutting corners, but this is just
it's lunacy.
lunacy.
They get given plastic forks in the commissary.
Yeah.
So why would they give them a fucking drill?
Oh well, this is the most trustworthy murderer we've got in the unit.
You know what? You can just tell the head warden's like, fuck mate, we are behind schedule on this project, this reinvigoration project. What are we going to do? Well, we better give some of the cribs a bit of this shit so they can help us out.
Oh man. Yeah. Crazy.
We also did not need to see the front cover of kiddie porn magazines.
No.
That allegedly his offsider, Denzel's offsider in the DA's office, was into.
Yeah. We can sort of say something that insinuates what's in there without fucking giving us the visual of it. I mean, obviously it's limited, thank fucking Christ, but it's we just say it, don't we?
I think they make a couple of other comments about his involvement in this and Nick's potential involvement in it as well.
Yeah.
And although I get that, I feel like it's probably a bit of a seedy way to have him done over.
I would feel like it's just, let's avoid that in this type of movie.
But also, I would suggest too that why couldn't he just be a thief?
Yeah, because they go to places where it's like, we quickly move on from that.
Well,
so just
a little
fucking
bit,
cut it out completely. Just cut it out completely.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Just make him, because they kind of put it out that perhaps he took the money and stuff like that.
Yes.
It's like, well, run with that.
Because I think that's what they were getting at too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The Styles has taken the 10 grand.
Yep.
Which seems to be awfully small potatoes.
Oh, absolutely. That's not rebuilding that bloody tower that they're on. You're not rebuilding the bloody thing that Denzel fucking stabs his arm on for 10k.
So, it just kind of like, I feel like you go more down the thief route.
Yeah.
That he'd been potentially siphoning funds or something like that.
Totally
And
agree.
It's easier to get that to happen.
Of course. This is where the plan just seems fucking scattershot. It's just fucking little bits and pieces everywhere. It's like, we'll just focus on that part.
Yeah.
And it's coming together, right? Like you've got little bits and pieces of that part of the plan that come out.
Yeah.
That works.
Agreed.
Yeah. In the midst of this though, we get the letter, the supposed suicide note, and we get the line, forensics verify that it was his handwriting. Did they? How do we explain that one away? This is also the forensics team that obviously we had the dental records part, but as I said to you, that's not the only thing they use.
No.
I get the idea that it's okay, burnt body, car crash or whatever, but the fella in there seemed to be a
lot smaller than
shorter than Johnny Lithgow.
Even if, let's say, the body was burnt up to the point, where some of it was gone.
Yeah.
So they couldn't work out how tall he was or whatever.
Yeah.
Does he have any distinguishing marks? Does he have a tattoo on him?
Shoe size, if his feet are still intact. Like...
So Lithgow's a size 9 and this guy's a size 12.
Yeah.
Then how do you explain that?
So the forensics team in this unit were just fucking clocked off.
Well, they were basically like, yeah, that'll do.
Yeah, they've confirmed that. They've said this is his handwriting. I mean, that's hard to do.
Does that mean that he held a gun to his head and he wrote it? I think that was the insinuation.
Part of that.
That's what it happened.
Yeah. I think that's where we might have landed. But again, fuck.
Well, again, this movie doesn't bother to explain.
Yeah. I mean, I'm saying if I'm writing this, it's a suicide note, you're going to kill me.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to kill me anyway, so I'm not writing it.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. You're going to hang me from the office in fishnet stockings.
Yeah.
Which again was kind of another unnecessary kind of angle
Correct.
to go with.
I mean, that's highly suspicious. Why is he fucking in that to do this deed?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't quite understand that.
That's, again, this is where all the fucking craziness starts to ramp up, and it doesn't really slow down from that point. It just kind of gets worse.
No,
that's where we start getting ranting Denzel and...
Yeah. Where he's tripping over his words and he's rambling on about this and trying to sort of make a connection.
Yeah. It's also around this point that Johnny Lithgow's sidekick just shat me to the point where it was like, nah, there's no way of winning me back.
Yeah.
When they drug Denzel, is it Denzel? I think it's Denzel that they drug. And he utters the line, I bet he shit his pants. I can't wait to look. I was just like, what? Who wrote this?
Look, I can tell you from experience this weekend, Jared, that nobody wants to like if I shit myself whilst being pistol whipped, after being pistol whipped, don't check my shorts. Exactly. Because you've got a fucking real rude shot coming.
Yeah.
And I mean in the form of kind of, it looks a bit like tar.
Yeah, look. You probably can wait to look. Just that's the only advice we're given from this point.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a fucking ridiculous line.
It's such a stupid line.
Why would you say that?
I don't know. And it's just where, like, the ways that they were trying to make this guy quirky and memorable were just so... Like, they just were utter turn-offs, the whole thing. Similar to what John Lithgow's lines were in a handful of...
Yeah, and those, I feel like some of those lines are kind of trying to play this sort of like tough guy menacing aspect, but they didn't work at all.
No. Not at all.
This is my last dislike, but he managed just to set fire to a building with his his case of bloody road flares and underneath the sink. He sets fire to the building. He drops one of the flares down through.
And Odessa's in on this plan.
Yeah.
So he's fucking destroying all his drug making equipment.
Yeah, and just blowing up his entire fucking business.
Yeah.
And the explosion looks fantastic.
It does.
But Denzel falls through like a skylight and lands in like a laundry chute. And it's fucking... What?
It is...
And it's, you have got to hit that mark because it's not that big.
It has got to be precise. And he hasn't practiced because the roof, he fucking jumps through a window to get there.
It takes you out because it's one too many steps over the top.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're already swallowing a hell of a lot of strange shit.
Yeah, it's on par with shit like Indy in the fridge and stuff like that. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
Really? Like, is that where we're heading with this?
Yeah, we're taking it out of the realms of possibility.
He pin drops through a fucking glass skylight.
Yeah.
And it's not like a one pane. It's like one of those. It's a big skylight. And he fucking pin drops.
He doesn't even hang, Jared.
No.
He doesn't even fall through and hang and try and position himself. He just jumps.
No, yeah.
And then lands right in the middle of
it. He goes down the chute like he's in fucking Cool Runnings.
Yeah. And the chute opening's the size of a bread basket. Good luck.
It's one of those things where if, like, you're trying that the first time and you realise, oh fuck, I hung my arm out too much.
Yeah, and I've hurt myself.
Busted something.
It's just too much to take.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have landed with one leg in, one leg out, and sort of fucking knackered myself.
Definitely.
But yeah,
I'd have missed and then been incinerated in the front.
It was fucking way too much to take. Way too much to take.
Yeah, and that's where I think the movie loses its track. Is that it is too over the top for its own good.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? It hasn't kind of worked out that you don't need to be this over the top.
Yeah, correct.
It's just from the pure sense of Earl Blake's plan.
Yep.
We need to potentially simplify it. You know, it's too complicated.
Yeah, go with some of the quirkier elements or the different elements, like the, you know, that he's trying to set him up and the way that he does it, but strip back some of the really out there shit.
Yeah, agreed. That was all I had.
Yes, me too.
All right, that was nice and short and sharp. That is Ricochet. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Podomatic, and anywhere else you get your podcasts. Send us an email, thrillme@iinet.net.au. We're on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com, and Instagram at thrillmepodcastau. Keep an eye on the Facebook page for the next film that we cover. But until then, take it easy, everyone, and we'll catch you later. Cheers.
Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.